Hey everyone, it's Tim at Falconet, and I'm back with some more of my Road to 1K series, I guess, is what we call it. And anyways, today we're going to be doing this Tier 3 Fog match versus Gorium 251 on the map 1v1 Marengo. And yeah, it's going to be... So the thing is, here's Marengo. It's a pretty large map. What's interesting about it is you've got... a pretty long hike to your third base. Then you have all these rivers in this area that sort of cut off the airport a little bit. So you have a semi-forward airport. You've got a lot of forests here, actually, blocking your vehicles from moving in. So this is very much a map in which you need to be on top of what you're going to be sending in here, because it is fog. So you need to make sure that everything is that you have the anti-air ready, that you have tanks pouring out basically, and I guess some battle coppers relatively quickly as well. The center area here is very sparse actually, making it, I'd say, relatively easy to contest these comm towers in the center here. Especially considering that not only your bases, but your opponent's bases are pretty far away from these center properties here. So unless you're using like battle coppers to back up, you can actually keep your opponent off of the comm tower for quite a while before stuff matters here. The other thing is your HQ is a little bit isolated from your production bases. So if you go for a sneaky little HQ cap, that's something you always want to keep an eye on your opponent for. I feel like this map actually in particular is pretty decent for Sturm. Like he's got 58%. He's got a 58% win rate compared to Hawk, which is 53. So like I said, pretty much an HQ rush sort of thing. There are lots of points that you can contest in this chapter, which makes someone like Sturm very nice for just contesting those, rather than waiting for everything to work out. In Tier 3, however, that makes this a little bit more different. I feel like, okay, so the total funds on this map is 42, so that's 21 per day, which is actually kind of light for using like Drake or even Kindle maybe. I would not go, honestly, I think that Kindle's probably the best pick on this map. Sonya maybe, I feel like Sonya maybe is actually decent as well here, but I just lost one with Sonya and I was not really exactly thrilled to, I wasn't exactly wanting to repeat that, basically. So yeah, this is an interesting little map. Drake versus... It's the main reason that I didn't want to use Sonya was... Well, actually, to be fair, Sonya's vision is actually pretty solid on this map. Like, these mountains are pretty good. There's a lot of mountains. Having recon will basically let you see whatever you want here. It's very open in this area as well, which means that... which makes it sort of difficult for your opponents to charge in there if they have... if you have more like heavier vehicles. So if Sonya with like medium tanks can contest pretty easily in this area in the center here, I feel. Possibly. I feel like this is actually a decent Sonya, but I feel like most maps are decent Sonya maps. So this one I might have actually, looking back on it, because it's only a single comm tower actually, so I might have wanted to try Sonya again here, but oh well. Drake's more consistent. Drake is very much more consistent here. Oh, Andy's the other option for this tier. I'd say Andy is actually pretty good. Andy, Drake, Kindle, all really solid picks for this map. And because it's single comm tower, there's not really much of a reason to pick one over the other for day-to-day bonuses. Because, well, it's tier 3. Well, actually, that's the same thing for everyone in tier 3, because no one in tier 3 really has that extra that extra firepower. Actually, I was thinking maybe Jess on this map, but Nash, her infantry are way too weak to use it on this map, I think. It is small enough that I would actually maybe consider using Jess up a tier, potentially. It's like a 50-50 with her, which I imagine includes some Jess picks in tier 3 as well. So, but not the most optimal idea, but anyways, let's go ahead and get started with early play. So, starting off here, we just got some basic infantry moves. And I think that, well, mostly what I'm going to be focusing on this game is the early game and the capture game, and what both players decide to go for early on here. Build order as well is going to be very important here. So my opponent goes for a very, very, very early recon. With all the roads on this map, I think that is a decent play. The only issue is I'm about to get a tank here. Well, actually, I go early recon as well. Yeah, I think with the roads is the reason why we both went for that. And I think that the early recon is a good idea here because there are so many roads. You can use it to basically block or secure the comm towers and the properties in the center here. So I feel like it's pretty important to do that, especially considering there aren't that many properties on this map. So recons will become a little bit more important for helping push and actually seize properties on this map. Obviously, I'm following up my recon with a tank. My opponent didn't have enough money, I think, right? No, they didn't have enough money that turn to actually get a tank. So already their build order is a bit messed up. Well, not even their build order. I'd say it's probably their capture game, because that's the issue. Because look at how far I am here. I've already got 9k captured. My opponent's only at 5k. So I think what I did was I went for this property a little bit earlier. This property. Oh yeah, I went for this property, and then I actually headed over this way. What do I have at my opponent does it? I guess the airport I grabbed sooner, and I'm already working on grabbing this guy. I am sort of okay. We're at 7k. I thought it was maybe a little bit more, but either way, as you can see, I already have a decent capture game increase, and that's partially because map analysis is well. Actually, it's 52-48 player for first turn advantage here. So it's not even the extra infantry that I started out with that's giving me the advantage here, I don't think. Not that it matters too much, it's just the sooner you get out the tanks, the better. And I've already got a tank chain started over here. What I should be doing next turn is getting out an anti-air. I think would be the next big purchase that I want here. Which I think I messed up on the build order here. I think I went for a tank next. Yeah, a tank down here to cover my infantry over here, which isn't bad. It's just I'm already sort of covering them with this tank to an extent. This one doesn't really give me any extra coverage, and I do need the anti-air pretty quickly. I think tank anti-air is like one of the better build orders in Fog. Is a really solid build order to start with. And then after that, you can start spamming tanks a bit. But okay, he's leaving his recon back here, though. He's got 3 tanks and an artillery of all things. He's begun in the artillery because he doesn't have enough money for a tank, which again is partially due to his capture game being lackluster. It's partially due to, yeah, I think it's mainly just his capture game because I'm already at 15k, so I've been consistently ahead, like 2k income this entire match so far. And then I'm going for more tanks. Right there, I only have enough for the tanks plus the infantry, so I think that's probably a decent. Him getting the first strike there is pretty important, I guess. He's going to lose his recon there down here, and I'm going to be able to contest this pretty easily. It's just a matter of what I do with my tank, I think. So I'm just going to keep on capping here, finish off the recon with tank plus infantry there. Did I get the... I did get the comm tower first. So I feel like I should be doing 90, right? 85 to 93? Okay, well, either way, with the extra luck damage from this guy, that's enough to finish him off. So I just guard my tank here with the infantry. I've got the recon still scouting everything out here. Got more tanks coming in. Do I get the anti-air finally? No, I go for the tanks again. And that's an issue, I think, is because he's got ahead and actually sort of figured out that I'm not really going for anti-air so far. And he built a battlecopter here. I think that 10, 11, 12, I'm pretty sure just tanks would be stronger overall, but this is going to allow him to get an advantage on top over me here in a second. So he's trapped himself under recon there. I can see everything here. He moved his battlecopter into recon range, which was a bit aggressive with that, I think, because now it's going to give me time to build an anti-air here to deal with it. So I think that was a bit aggressive of him with his battlecopter there. I'm going to nail that infantry there with my recon, and I think I even move in with the tanks to make sure that he can't really do much to start capping that comm tower here. Because I've got 2 tanks, recon, another tank in the back, ready to keep on moving in. When I saw the battlecopter, I'm like, oh, okay, he wasted some money on a battlecopter, so I'm free to do stuff like this, and then I get the anti-air as well, finally. Which I should have gotten a long time ago, but whatever. And I have enough money to start spamming out tanks and stuff right now as well, so it's not even that bad. But look at how little damage this battlecopter did here. I feel like that's almost like a really, really, really bad luck roll as well for my opponent there. Yeah, I guess. It's not that bad, actually, considering he doesn't have a comm tower yet. That's the main reason that she's kind of suffering right now, is they don't have a comm tower quite yet. Let's see. So he's got more tanks moving in here, so I have to be pretty careful on this front over here, but I have enough units that I can basically just swarm for a while, and that'll be fine, more or less. I take out that infantry, start capping there even, because, well, he's only got like 1 unit that can attack and move in and attack anyways. I guess he can move in with both infantry, but he'd be attacking from off of the mountain for that. So, and I've got the 4 health infantry here to help continue capping here anyways. And the other thing is Rachel doesn't exactly have firepower now because I have control of both comm towers. I don't have this one captured yet, but since Rachel doesn't have that comm tower, it's going to be pretty difficult for her to actually do much with it. So I join cap there, take out that guy, move in there, which is pretty aggressive. I didn't realize he had the VRD there, and he's got a tank there. So this is actually maybe a bad move. But I mainly have it here to cover my infantry back here, I think. And I'm sort of trying to spread out a bit before, to allow my anti-air to catch up to my tanks, basically. And it's at this point that my opponent just decides to stop playing. So yeah. I feel like it's still relatively neck and neck at this point, even though I'm ahead 4 in the unit count, and 20-ish K, and basically a turn of income. But, like, I still feel like Rachel's in a decent position here, but she can get a lot of damage off this turn. Let's see. Yeah, this is what she can see, because she's got this guy in the mountain. So, unfortunately for her, she can't really see the tank, but I think the way that I moved it would basically allow her to see this on replay. So she can take out this tank pretty much for free, cap there. she can get another decent first strike on with this battlecopter. Probably take out the recon with her tank at least, tank plus infantry even. Potentially she could interrupt this cap. I don't know about that. And then the other thing is she is sort of in a bad spot over here because of all my tanks. I've got 3, well, I guess 2.5 tanks to her 2 this turn. She's got reinforcements on the way, but I still have a bunch of tanks in the back for her to deal with. So I feel like I am starting to make ground over here, and my opponent just isn't making ground everywhere else is the issue for her. With the battlecopter, I feel like that wasn't necessarily the best play, but to be fair, they did get some good first strikes with it. Well, a good first strike with it. I feel like this battlecopter will at least end up paying for itself. Just because they had the advantage of me not having the anti-air ready for it. So that's pretty good. The only thing is she is down 4 in unit count. She is down pretty significantly in income, so she's going to need some good stuff coming up here in a second. And because covering fire and I'd say that covering fire and Typhoon are about even. Maybe Drake's superpower is a little bit better. Because they're pretty close in terms of how much damage they end up doing, I still feel like this is a very much just a neck and neck game. So it's kind of unfortunate that my opponent decided to give up at that point. Because I feel like they still have a lot of play that they can make here. It's just, even though they are behind like 20k for unit count, I still feel like this is winnable for them at this point. Partially because of a bunch of mistakes I made, including the anti-air, not getting the anti-air out fast enough, and being a little bit too aggressive with this tank here. But I ended up winning, I guess, so I'm not going to complain about that. Anyways, that's it for today's match. What's next week's match? Let's see. Next week we're going to be doing, I think it's going to be, yeah, it's going to be a caustic finale match between Hawk and Javier, which is actually a pretty interesting little thing because artillery are decent in caustic finale, making Javier pretty decent, especially considering that bottom left corner. So it's going to come down to how we play around these comm towers in the bottom left, because I feel like Javier, well, I'd say Hawk's abilities are a little bit, or at least Hawk's powers are slightly better than Javier's. And Javier is sort of at a disadvantage statistically here. Especially if he's the second player. Yeah, especially if he's player 2. But it'll still be a very interesting match. That match was really fun. I know this one was pretty short, but I'm kind of running low on matches here, so I need to do everything that I can, basically. Anyways, if you enjoyed, please go ahead and like and subscribe and all that other nonsense, and I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.